All right. You did good.
It was curling where I met him. Holy Christ, I can't forget him. He was throwing stones down sheet 5 with the rocks in the center. We knew we could do better. Meeting my curling man made me feel so alive. Here you go. Got it.
Well, the countdown is officially on. And I'm hoping this is enough time relevancy. But we're going to the Briar. That is going to be so loud.
Yeah. Thanks, Nolan, for these wonderful gifts, by the way.
They're great, aren't they? Cowbells, $10 at Target. They are a lot bigger than I expected. This is the one situation where we could probably use less cowbell.
No,
you got to have the cowbell.
But, yeah, we're Tuesday evening. I'm leaving Thursday. You guys are leaving Friday. Draw Friday night. 2 on Saturday. 3 on Sunday.
I believe it's 6 p.m. Central on Friday is the only draw there. So got to be there in time for that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Nolan before you got here too that we're right on the sheet that Team Canada is playing on first draw. So that'll be the first game. Yeah, I know.
That'll probably be feature game too, I imagine.
I was kind of hoping so because I really wanted to tell people to look for us out there.
But, who are they playing?
That's a good question.
We'll have to look that up.
I think it might be New Brunswick. I want to say it was NB, but
okay.
Yeah. Did I get the Providence right there?
Yes. I told my mom I was going to paint my chest. I figured I'd just put an M on each side of my belly button, so it would say Mom.
It's hard to get paint to be visible through the shag carpet that I have for a front.
She'll be so proud.
Yeah, maybe
consider just shaving it on either side of your belly button.
Could do that. Yeah. No, I don't know. It might be a little risk connected to Brand Center. I haven't been there in a few years.
What do we got for updates? We've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this is episode 16. I know we're coming off a really good Prairie Grit night. You want to talk about that?
I do, actually. Did you guys see that I made the front page of the Minot Daily?
We did.
Yes, I did.
We did. Sorry.
I did.
Oh, yeah. Well, Clay saw enough for all of us. We had Prairie Grit out here. That was our second Prairie Grit night. We did some in the past, like pre-COVID. It went great. We tried to sort the kids up by skill level a little bit this time. That helped smooth things over because last time I didn't know how many children were coming because I didn't ask for an RCP because I figured there wasn't one. So it was a little intimidating. Had a little bit more knowledge going into this one. So went real smooth. We had enough volunteers. They got pizza in for the kids again. Everybody was smiling. Everybody had a great time. What I really loved was that we actually got 4, para-athletes out there doing a wheelchair game. I think they curled at least 3 ends. I think they almost did a 4-end game.
Yeah.
And Jacob was out there with them the whole time. And those new wheelchair heads we got are awesome. Did you guys get a chance to use those?
They're so cool.
Oh my God, they're great. So for those of you that don't know, I just found out about these this year. There's a company online makes what they call a GTX, stick delivery. But we got these ones from Evan Workin that are a similar design, but they're made from a local guy in Fargo. And you don't have to twist your wrist with the stick. You just set it on either side. And then, when you push it, the linkage allows it to put the curl on, and you can adjust how much curl with a little nut on the end of it. So they're fantastic, and they really simplify the aiming process because you don't need to worry about that wrist twist and messing your rock up at the end. Just push straight every time.
Yeah, no, they're some of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. What else do we have about Prairie Grit? I don't know. It was a lot of fun and people really enjoyed it. So I'm hopeful that we can maybe find a third date in March. But if we don't get the full Prairie Grit group down, we are definitely doing the men's and women's sled hockey teams are coming Tuesday, March 12th. For a curling outing. It's like their social event while they're in town.
That's confirmed now.
So that's 100% confirmed. Nice. Yep. And actually, Crystal with Prairie Grit, we were talking about it, and she was like, well, is there anything I can do on our end to help? And I said, if anything, please rent us a handicap accessible bathroom that we can plop on the sidewalk outside. Because if we're going to have, 32 para athletes out here. We don't have handicap accessible bathrooms on the main level, or really even upstairs too. It's
only thing we're missing in the parish of curling.
Yes. So they're gonna get one of those dropped outside. I'm kind of hoping it's one of the schwanky ones that you see at like the upscale outdoor weddings. But it'll maybe just be the old blue boy. So
if any of our numerous donors are listening, handicap accessible bathrooms might be on the request list for next year.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to. Well, you're talking the rentals again? Yeah.
Well, for anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, that is actually one of the club improvements. Would be really great to make our upstairs more accessible, make our bathrooms more accessible, any of the above.
Yes. Well, we've been talking forever about trying to make the upstairs handicap accessible, but I think a probably better place to start would be just making our downstairs, at least friendly.
Yes, either.
Prairie Grit went great, man. And then after Prairie Grit, what did we do?
Well, it was a very busy weekend. You mentioned Evan working. He stayed in town, so he was here Friday for the Prairie Grit event. We also had our outdoor open curl, which had transitioned from the back alley bonspiel to just the Citizens Alley open curl, learn to curl.
Yep.
Down at Citizens Alley, which was also great. We had actually a really good turnout.
Yeah,
I would say. Weather was
too warm.
It was nice. It was really nice down there.
It was a beautiful day.
It did wreak some havoc on the ice later on in the afternoon.
It got up to 50 that day. Yeah, it was a little too much.
Big thanks to Evan coming out and letting us use his rocks and stuff for that again. It's a lot of new faces. That's the one thing I like about going down there is you see a couple people from the club. Most of the people from the club were just us that were there. Everybody else that showed up was brand new.
Yep.
A lot of smiles, real good time.
Well, and Clay, were you there when your youth curlers came? 2 of the kids in your youth program brought their dad and their mom out curling because mom hadn't been coming on the weekends and she really wanted to try it.
Was it Jeremy and his wife, Crystal?
I don't remember if I caught their names. It was the girl that always wears that Arrakis Dune sweatshirt. It was her and her brother. I think that's also in the program. I recognized her sweatshirt right away because I'm a big Dune fan. Love the books.
Well, then there might have been a couple actually from the youth program.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
That could have been Simon.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was not Simon. I know Simon.
Okay.
I know Simon. Yep.
They were youth curlers, so I think it was after you.
Simon
it was
after and Chantel is his daughter.
Yep.
It was great. I love it too when people bring the family out, especially for those outdoor ones. It's hard for us to get kids into league, but like coming out for an open house, like it's a good time for them to, especially on those half sheets too, where you got a kid that's 8-9 years old, like they can have fun with the whole family. Yep. As cliche as that is.
It was a great event. So I had a blast down there. And then you mentioned youth curling. You get some updates on youth curling as well.
We just wrapped up our youth curling season, and to finalize it, we do have high school state being hosted in Minot here this coming weekend. I'm not exactly sure when you're going to listen to this podcast, but during the Briar, we actually are hosting high school state. We have 2 new teams from Minot competing, and we have a number from Fargo, Bismarck, Devils Lake, Williston.
It's an impressive turnout, isn't it? Like 15 teams or something?
Yeah, they're going to, and it's all weekend, so they're going to have their work cut out for them here.
Yeah.
Getting everything scheduled.
How would you sum up the youth curling season?
Oh, it was great. I mean,
are you going to do a Borat voice? Give me a Borat voice.
A Borat voice? Yeah, my voice is all over the place. I'm draining pretty bad.
No.
Very nice.
Great success. In my life.
But yeah, actually, the one of the main takeaways is it's it actually requires a lot more instructors than we really anticipated from the start. I mean, we were thinking of doing 24. Allowing 24 youth curlers, and we had our hands full with 14 to 16. So that's a big takeaway for next year, is just being realistic about what we can handle. Yep. And then dividing up the skill levels, same as you talked about with Prairie Grit, dividing those skill levels up between the sheets, the sizes. One of the best things that we invested in over the winter, though, are half hacks.
The portable hacks are fantastic.
They worked so well.
Oh my God, those are great. Yeah. And I've been piggybacking off that for the Prairie Grit. I mean, those have made those events fantastic. Plus, at the Prairie Grit, you guys innovated using cones as targets.
Yep.
And we didn't do that the first time. And Britt and Sarah were out on sheet 1, and they were like, well, let's not have these kids just shoot at nothing. Like, they went and grabbed those colored cones, and yeah, that was a hit. So we went and did that on all the sheets after that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
So lots of good things.
Great things.
Like you mentioned, high school, state coming up this weekend. We have state seniors coming up the following weekend.
Yep.
Prairie Grit with the hockey teams, sled hockey teams.
That's the weekend after that. Yep.
And then we have St. Patty's Day off.
Yeah, I'm going up to Moose Jaw. No. What do we have going on that weekend? Oh, I volunteered to help out at the sled hockey games, actually, at the Mesa. Yep.
So that's going on, not here, but in town. And then we have
one extra flood before the shirt sleeve.
Yep, Mondac.
Oh, that's right, the Mondac.
Yep, so that's happening. And
then Easter break, and I'm going up to Moose Jaw for Wheelchair Nationals in Canada.
And then we got the shirt sleeve.
Yes.
What did you decide? You guys are taking shirt sleeve.
Who's going to win?
No.
Clarify. What are you asking?
Yeah.
You're curling with the boys. Eh?
I'm curling with the boys.
Okay, so I'll take my exit again. I'll tip my cap and head out.
Hey, I have some buddies coming into town, and they might need a skip. Most of them curled in high school with me, and they came to a spiel a couple of years back too.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to start throwing out contract offers here and see who wants me more.
Highest bidder.
I got Ben Kramer on my back, trying to get me to skip his team as well.
Hey. You know, at least I offered you the right position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't sweeping. No.
Exactly.
I'm too old for that.
Yeah,
I'm 30
you're
now.
too old. Speaking of us all getting old here, should we
let's get our
our
guest in? Yes, another phoner. I got to say, before I don't know if you've hit the call button or not yet, but
have not.
These have been great.
Yeah.
I really love the phone interviews. It's expanded our podcast a whole lot more. I hope our viewers have enjoyed it as much as I have.
Yep.
I hope the content is
A+.
Grade A beef.
Yep. USDA Prime.
Yeah.
Yep. And for our many viewers out there too, if you have a phone number and interesting curling story, history, whatever, hit us up. You know, do it.
Same thing to
do it.
All my friends back home that I know are probably listening to this but are too scared to talk into a mic. You know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're sure it's not just what you're going to say about him or the stories?
There's one really funny story about that guy that I would tell.
Yeah.
But he has to be here for it.
Oh, okay.
Is that the one that's like your cousin or something?
Yeah.
Now he knows. Now he knows we're talking about him. All right, here we go. This is James with the Roadrunner Curling Club in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
The
Kirk. James.
Hello?
Hey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Sorry. Thanks for being patient with us, by the way. We're ready now.
Okay.
We have a bad habit of rambling in our updates.
Oh God.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've listened to the pod before or not.
I listened to a couple. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we get off track very easily.
Well, our content is going up with our fine interviewees, so we're on the right trend.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today, though. How's things going down south?
Oh, I don't think they're going too bad. We actually have a Tuesday night league going on tonight. I'm not there. Someone else has started running most of the stuff this season instead of me. But they have filled up the last, I think, 3 Tuesday nights. So we got a lot of new people that did our instructional leagues that joined this one. And they added a mini league on Sundays for some more people to because our season is kind of winding to a close here. It'll probably, I think we end in the beginning of April.
Okay. Could we start off here? Could you take us through a little bit of how the Roadrunner Club,
Sure.
came to be, and how you guys have gotten from there, to where you are now.
Okay.
And I know you guys have a fun story too with your ice logistics as well. Excited to hear about it. Yeah.
Well, okay, let's go. I was interested in curling ever since I saw it in the '98 Olympics. And I never lived where they had it until I was stationed in Ohio in 2014 to 2017. It started in Columbus, and then I curled mostly with the Troy Curling Club, Curl Troy.
Hey, that's our buddies. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if they told you a little bit of the story there. Their 4th set of rocks I actually bought for them before I left. That was going to be about what I was going to donate anyway when I left. And when their president, heard that, I was leaving, He asked if I wanted my money back. I told him, no, that's an investment. I expect to be able to call you anytime and get advice.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much they're using that for set right now. In their interview with them, it sounded like maybe a little bit. Moved out here to Albuquerque, which I actually did my undergrad here at the University of New Mexico, so it wasn't like I was brand new to Albuquerque.
Oh, okay.
The rink here, they did not have these tunnels that we curl on when I was here. They expanded a year after I left. And when they expanded, they put 2 hockey rinks in. So they have 2 hockey rinks connected by 2 tunnels. The outside distance is the exact dimensions for a speed skating oval. The previous owner was trying to attract speed skaters here. And when you put the boards down, backline to backline is the perfect dimension, exact dimensions for backline to backline for curling sheets. The previous owner, he passed away a couple of years ago, but I met him when I was trying to get this started, and he told me there had been a curling club here back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah?
I have yet to meet anyone that was part of it, but we found a lot of their equipment just in odd places at the rink. So, yeah, we know there was a curling club at some point, but then don't know what happened to them. If it was during the expansion, they went dormant and just never came back, or something fell apart before that. So in fall of 2017, I was trying to, get started. I asked around just for sets of rocks to, borrow, lease, figure it out. It actually wasn't until I went to the instructor course in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Hey, those are good guys out there. Yep.
Yeah, they are. I talked to some people up there. They told me I needed to get a hold of George in North Dakota. George, I think it's Phillips.
Yep.
That's his name.
Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, George drove down our first set of rocks with our hacks and brooms from North Dakota all the way down to Albuquerque because he was driving to Coyotes at the same time.
Okay.
So that's how we got our first set of rocks. We got started in the fall of 2017. Never really had that much interest. We'd get, a handful of friends come do it once a week or do 1 week and then never hear from them until the Olympics. Once the Olympics started and interest started picking up, I want to say it was probably about 2 to 3 weeks before the Olympics, we started filling up our Learn to Curls. And then, of course, after the gold medal game, now everyone thinks they can do it. So we started getting a lot of people coming in and started getting enough to actually play games. Because I actually started, when I started, I asked people if they wanted to just keep learning. And almost everyone said, no, we just want to play games. And so got started where I would say, what was it? 4 of us had ever played a game of curling before we started our first league. And so we had 4 teams. All of them had 1 person that even knew the rules. So, yeah, it was interesting. And I would say since then, I don't have the exact numbers because the first few seasons it was basically when can we get enough people to play games. And so we had very erratic schedules, but the rink was open year round. And so we could just, put games whenever we could. The most we've ever had in a league here has been 5 teams, I think 20 people. We also, because of the unique setup, we don't fight. I shouldn't say we don't fight hockey for the ice because kids also play hockey on this same ice. But we can play at the same time that we have rec hockey going on the hockey rinks, which makes it a little interesting. I don't know if you've ever played a game where you had a puck fly right into your back, but I've had that sweeping of all time.
I can't say I ever have. You mentioned you have a unique setup. Can you describe kind of what your rink setup is?
Yeah. Trying to do it without the picture is a little hard, but I'm going to. So there's a north and south hockey rink. Then they're connected by the two curling sheets, which have boards that go up and down on the north and south ends of each of those. For public skates, they open all the boards up. You can skate all around. All of this is there are two chillers one for each rink, but the sheet of ice is continuous. You don't come off the hockey rink and step onto the curling sheet. You have to when the boards are down, but the boards are up. You just skate from one to the other. When the boards come down, also the back line to that board, there's less than 2 feet. So we usually take a rock, put it behind the back line, then set the hacks. So we don't have the same 6 feet behind the back line that even a arena curling on hockey ice has. So we also have to make do. And we have a house rule where if you slide past the hog line, we basically say just be generous.
Right. Give yourself that little buffer space.
Yeah. Which most people are okay with. Every once in a while you get someone who hasn't played here that moves from somewhere else and asks us about it. And we have to explain our house rule. And it's not, and most people are letting go before that hog line anyway, because our ice is notoriously slow. I don't know if you've ever hogged a 3-second rock.
In our outdoor event, actually, yeah.
Outdoor, yeah. Well, I've done it outdoors, yeah. But
so you, I looked up a couple of pictures online of your club here, and you mentioned you're not fighting skaters per se. Are you fighting Zamboni traffic by chance? Looking at that setup.
During games, no, of course not. But the way we do it is we make sure we only schedule after they're zamming everything. And also saying we're not fighting skaters, there's always, I would say about once a month, they don't get the boards down in time, and we have adult rec hockey going on at the same time usually. And every once in a while a puck comes and the skaters want to skate on the sides of the sheets saying, well, you're not using it. We have to explain to them, no, we are using the entire sheet. It's like, please don't skate on it. And I've also had youth hockey in the mornings, once again on them and warm up before we're done with our games when we had Saturday mornings, which we don't have Saturday mornings right now, but we have done that in the past. Is that what you're talking about, like having Zams go through at the same time?
Yes, yeah, exactly. It wasn't completely clear from the pictures if the Zambonis were using the curling sheets as a means to get back and forth between the sheets.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they open the boards and we make sure they zam before we get on the ice.
Okay, sure thing.
Now, other challenge with that is if you look at a lot of arena setups, and name's escaping me right now, but he's a big guy for arena curling who'd asked in the U.S., and I know I've met him a couple of times, Kevin. I showed him what we had. Is basically a lot of the stuff he recommends is doing like cross cuts and figure eights and these different patterns. Well, the Zam can't maneuver in that tunnel.
No.
So we get basically 2 patterns. Either they start on the walls, they come in, or they start on the inside and go out. Those are the only 2 patterns they do. So there is always a big build up there. But it has definitely improved. A couple of general managers have worked to make sure they vary the patterns a bit. I think last I played there was a couple Sundays ago, and we could use the 4-foot in. Everything was actually curling to the button.
Oh, sure.
Or staying like straight along the lines. You got outside those lines, you had the falls because of the Zam ridges. But hey, if you can use that center, that's fine.
Yeah, that's not the worst thing.
No kidding.
So do you end up with a heavy pebble after the Zamboni goes through? Are you using a heavy pebble, and then do you have your own nipper, or
We don't have a nipper only because we really don't have storage space for that.
Sure thing.
To keep it cool at least. We have just that little hand scraper, like 2-foot scraper, that if we get a lot of bunts, we'll use that to scrape down. But yeah, we wait for the ice to freeze, then we come on and pebble. And we try to pebble that as much as we can to basically try to keep much. If we get a good spot, we want to keep the curl going as much as we can through the game.
Right. No, it sounds like a super unique setup. Have you guys always been in this tunnel, or was there a time where you were on the actual skating surface?
We've never been on the hockey ice, on the hockey rinks. We've always been on the tunnels. I asked, this is now the third general manager I've asked about setting up in the summer for a spiel that would even be feasible. Most of the time I just get a response that it probably wouldn't be cost effective for us to rent because they would probably charge us the entire 24 hours. And then this last general manager said he was going to try to come up with a price for us, and I don't know that. Well, I took myself off our own board this season because I needed someone else to try to do some more, and I needed a break after 6 seasons of doing most of the work.
Yep.
Well, I shouldn't say most of the behind the scenes work.
Oh, we feel you there. We got a lot more gray hairs sitting around this table than we did when even I started on the board.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
So I don't know if
what kind of price is it to rent a hockey rink down there? Do you have? You said he was getting you a price. Do you have a ballpark on that?
Oh, yeah, no, I know exactly what it is if I wanted to rent it for an hour. It's $300 an hour for each of the hockey rinks, and it's $150 an hour for one sheet of curling. We did get a discount from them for our leagues. But if you were to call the rink right now and say, I want one sheet of curling just to practice, $150 an hour.
That's,
Yeah.
It's
a bit of an ouch.
Yeah. I think we're one of the most expensive in the country. Yeah.
Are ice times just that full down there, or is there a certain reason for that?
The 300, that's just what the price is for the hockey, and they do fill those up.
Okay.
And I really think what they did is they just looked at that, said a curling sheet is half a sheet of ice, which it's not, it's a quarter.
Right.
We've tried to explain that to them, but they do fill up even those curling sheets with youth hockey and hockey lessons and sometimes figure skating lessons, though figure skaters usually need a lot more. So it's usually like very beginner figure skaters there. And those, they don't like to call them tunnels. They like to call them curling and training sheets.
Okay.
That they got rebranded when the new ownership took over. So I'm trying to remember to call them that.
Sure.
Be respectful of them. The new ownership actually is it's been really great. They've worked with us as much as they can. But yeah, $150 an hour. You can only split it 8 ways to play a proper game, whereas hockey, you can bring in, 20 kids and split it.
Yep.
No, we're saying ouch on the hockey. I've never tried to rent a whole sheet for an hour here to know what that is.
Oh, yeah, but $300 isn't really that much more than I've seen else. I know a handful of other places I've looked around the country. $250 seems to be the going rate.
Yeah, it's straight up demand, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to fill it otherwise.
Well, I was thinking back to your, they were going to charge you want to do a bonspiel, so you needed the whole day, and they're going to charge you for 24 hours. And I pulled my phone out and did the math on that, and that $300 rate, that's $7,000, and I think about like our 3-day spiels that we charge $240 for, run concessions, like making $8,000 a great spiel for us after expenses. We'd be losing money if we tried to do that. At the $240 entry, and that's 30 teams.
Well, you're saying $240, and most of the spiels I've been to have been between $400 and $500.
Yeah, we're on
across
we're on a light end here for.
Well, are those cash spiels too that you're going to? That's the other one. Like if it's cash, just social spiels. Yeah.
I just returned from Mile High Open in Denver this weekend. That was a $500 entry fee.
Jeez.
That was just a fun spiel. Yeah, that's what most of them are out here.
God, are we getting to be like country club prices? Curling.
Yeah.
It's going up.
Yeah, that's true. We had to raise our rates too.
Yeah, I think that
$20.
I think that
we raised it $40.
Yeah, I think the cheapest spiel I've been to since I started curling was Windy City. I think was $300 one year.
Wow, you got to come up to the shirt sleeve.
Is the Windy City one? That's the one in the basement of the strip mall, right? I think that's where Zach was.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Right on. So we got the club run and everything like that. Tell us a little bit more about your league structure. Are you guys GNCC? Sure. Are you USCA members, or how do you?
We are no longer a USA Curling member. We were a USA Curling member for 1 year. We did not see value in it. We really had a hard time with the people that were trying to get us in. We had a hard time with the staff that was there. I'm going to throw this out right now. A lot of people talked about like the non-curlers that were on the staff and board at the time. I never had a problem with them. I had a problem with longtime curlers that were there. And I'll throw out one name right now that I didn't have a problem with, who probably helped us the most. Her name was Kim Naywin, and she always was trying to encourage us to join. She gave us great information, never pressed, and even when we weren't members, she helped us out a lot.
Yeah.
I'll even say this for Dean. I think Dean Gimmel is doing a great job. I didn't really have any issues with him individually. It just, we didn't see value after that 1 year. We looked at what was offered and we bailed.
Well, I know we've had, we've talked with this, I think a year or two back, right? We struggled the same thing, right? Like, what are you getting back? And they have made improvements, one of them changing the membership structure for us now. Like, we're still with USCA, right? I know one of the big complaints was about, clubs like yours, smaller ones that are getting off the ground and arena clubs, and they weren't tripping over themselves to offer things like rock rental programs and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And facilitating, like helping you guys thrive, because it's tight, like you're saying about the ice rental fees and, trying to make it attractive to new curlers. You're with GNCC though now, correct?
We are with GNCC.
Insurance for them.
Our rink, actually, the year we joined USA Curling, it was the first year when we signed our rental agreement with them. They required every activity that was running any kind of league to have a parent organization. So we were kind of forced into USA Curling.
Yep.
We were already looking at it anyway, but we were kind of forced to do that. And we actually had to talk with the management at the rink about whether or not we would be allowed to leave, because then we wouldn't have a parent organization. But the schism with GNCC and USA Curling allowed us to actually reach out to GNCC and sit down with our rink and ask if that was good enough for them. And basically, the rink said, as long as we have an overarching insurance program and someone they can reach out above us, basically say, are you helping? I guess helping or is probably not the right word. I'm trying to think what it's. But basically, do you have a boss for your program?
Yeah, I think the insurance is such a big one. Who else were we talking to that had an arena club when we asked about insurance? Like if they were required to have it as they were at an arena? Because I figured that an arena would carry that and you might be under it already, but you have to have your own insurance, huh?
Right. We are required to have separate insurance.
Okay.
Even all of our adult rec hockey is all required to be a part of USA Hockey. The figure skating is all required to be, I think it's US Figure Skating Association. I don't know what they are. And the only thing I see there that doesn't require it is broom ball, because they don't do leagues. they just rent that out to people on a sheet for like private events.
Okay.
That's in my broomball experience. That's when you really want the insurance for.
I was going to say.
Yeah, no,
I've watched a kid lose his front teeth doing that.
Man.
Yeah.
That is dangerous.
When I was in Dayton, I played broomball there. They had all the oversized grippers and helmets, and you're required to wear those. Here, no, you rent the sheet. Here's the equipment. Go have fun.
Yeah, it's no instruction whatsoever.
You're talking it's not tennis shoes and blue jeans and yeah.
I saw a guy come out there in his military issued boots playing.
Oof.
Can't imagine those have a whole lot of grip on the ice.
If I had a nickel for every time somebody showed up to a Learn to Curl in cowboy boots, I would be able to buy some curling shoes to just borrow to those poor
Freshly
fools.
starched Wranglers as well that are
Yes.
making home in one piece. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
did-
funny you
we did
mentioned
lose
cowboy boots.
One pair of
Because
jeans
this
by the
past
way.
weekend in Denver, there was someone curling in cowboy boots the entire spiel.
By choice.
But he had
like
he specifically had curling cowboy boots. He come off the ice and changed his boot to a different pair of boots.
I've been wanting to do that.
wait, like,
Somebody
were
beat me
they
to
were they
it.
converted to actual curling
No,
shoes
no,
with a
they were
slider?
not.
Oh,
No.
he just had like
No.
rubber bottom ones. Okay,
I
because
have no clue what that.
we're good buddies with Working Curling Supplies out of Fargo, and he does the same thing that like Craig's Shoes does now. He makes custom curling shoes, right? And we were all on the fence about I want a pair of curling Croc shoes. I guess Clay now
I could use
wants
a
the
pair of
curling cowboy.
boots,
The
yeah.
curling cowboy boots are kind of dope too.
Curling cowboy.
I did wear cowboy boots to our outdoor Learn to Curl. It was slightly less than ideal.
Yeah, you got to get like a nice ostrich leather, something supple, you know.
Ostrich leather boots. to bring on.
$600
Yes,
cowboy curling
exactly
boots
what I
with
was
a
thinking.
$200 conversion. Cost more than my first car.
Tony Llamas. Yay. No, thank you.
What were we actually talking about before we got derailed?
Well, you're talking about leagues. I'll give you the rundown of. We have had essentially 4 different setups. When I say 4, one of them one day is always reserved for instruction. We can only get one tunnel on Thursdays because we have sled hockey. He has to get on the ice on the other tunnel. But yeah, we actually have a great sled hockey program here too. Those guys gone to tournaments and won some prizes. But on our Thursdays, it's either a Learn to Curl or instructional league. Our instructional league this year, we had 30. I think we've run 4 and we've had 30 people do that. Our Learn to Curls, we've run 9. We've had over 100. Then we used to do a Saturday morning. It was limited to 8 people. We called it the brunch league. We tried to do it at 10 in the morning. It was 4 weeks, 6 inning games, and you just came and we drew for teams every week.
That's cool.
And our Tuesdays is our no standings league. That's our most popular right now. Like I said, we've filled the last 3. This season we only plan to do 4. Yeah, like I said, I'm not on the board this year, so I don't know if they're going to try to do another one at the end of the season because of the popularity. But we just do 6 inning games. Well, yeah, another thing with this, we always get decent, like all of our games on the week nights start at 7. We actually get pretty decent times. And that's because of the setup, because we're not competing with hockey at the time. The 6-week league, they run a little different this season. In the past seasons, it's always been we assign you a team. You play 6 weeks. You play each team 3 times. Twice. Each team, the other 3 teams twice. And then at the end of the 6 weeks, we throw old names in again and assign different teams. This season, it sounds like some of the leagues they've drawn when they've got there, or some leagues they've assigned teams. Again, everyone seems to be happy with what the new group has done.
Yeah.
And on Sundays, we've run our 8-game standings league, where if you win that, we give you a trophy. And again, that's at 7 o'clock on Sundays. And the longest that has run that we've had it run is 10 weeks. If we got a 5th team, it'd run 10 weeks, and it's based on your standings at the end of those 10 weeks. Who wins the trophy? Unless we have a tie, then we have a playoff game. I cannot believe how many people really wanted these little $10 plastic trophies I found.
Yeah.
Hey, it's something.
Yeah, it is. We call them like fabulous prizes here, and we'll give out like a pint glass or something,
Yeah.
a leftover
So,
medal.
In 2022, one lady that was in our club, she just got busy, couldn't come back, but she did glass etching, and so she made about 2 dozen shot glasses with our logo on it. And so we gave them away. We ran a beginner round robin for everyone that started during the Olympic year. It was exclusively for them. And at the end of the game, we'd call out the shot of the game, and give away the shot glass to anyone that.
That's fun.
That's a great idea.
And I had someone ask me this season about it. I was like, well, we gave them all away.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess I could ask her again. But I was like, well, don't really want to keep doing that just for these normal leagues, but maybe we should.
I like the idea of the shot glasses. That's really fun. Shot of the game and then the shot. It's I like puns.
Hate to steal your idea, but we might have to do something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I do not own this intellectual property. Feel free to use it.
But you will take royalties on it. All right.
Yeah, sure.
One thing I wanted to ask, and the only reason this comes to my mind is because you're the first club where the weather is nice year round, so you guys get a lot of people traveling south. And I don't know if Albuquerque gets a lot of people traveling south for the winter or not, but have you ever thought of a snowbird league or something like that?
Yeah, we don't get nearly as many as Phoenix does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
but remember, we're also up in the mountains.
Right.
So the summers are, I think they're mild. I mean, we'll get probably 10 to 20 days over 100 every summer here. When we did the Saturday morning leagues, those were fine in the summer because the mountain blocks the sun in the morning coming in. So it's still nice and cool. You can actually sink the hacks. But we do get to a point where if the sun's beating down, even on just the rink, we have a hard time setting the hacks. So that's why we try to stop usually before Memorial Day.
Yeah, and that's what we ran into this weekend with an outdoor event we had. It's February in North Dakota. We hit 50 degrees. If the sun hits the ice, those hacks aren't staying in. So
yeah, that was it. They kept kicking out on us.
Yeah.
Well, you talk to the Troy guys. When I curled in their outdoor league, it was never a problem. It was cold.
Yep.
Minus 10 degrees is fine. Go out there. If it got above about 40, then you'd have the real issues of not only setting hacks, but it's too slippery. Guys falling down, hurting themselves.
Well, they said they had the moisture that would come from because they're in a covered area, right? It's open air but covered.
Yep.
So they'd have
frost,
basically precipitation coming
snow
down.
Would blow in.
Yeah.
We've had that on occasions that are before they replaced most of the roof. We'd get moguls in certain areas of the sheet because it was dripping. New ownership's taking care of a lot of that.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, we'll still get that.
We actually get dripping at ours too. We have tongue and groove for our ceiling in our old building. And when the heat's been on and the humidity's just right, it precipitates from the joints in the tongue and groove. So it picks up this nice yellow color from the wood. And then you get these little piles. I've seen them as an inch tall, at the end of a game.
Yeah, we usually don't have much humidity here. So that it's not a problem very often. I'd say the entire time since I've been there, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. All right. So I got one last question about the club, and then we can get into your curling career. But
sure,
it's the Roadrunner Curling Club, right?
That's correct.
What made you pick Roadrunner? Because from what I've learned, and this is just recently, I didn't know this until a couple months ago. A Roadrunner is quite a violent bird.
Oh God, yeah, they're cannibals.
I learned something new.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but did you look up what the state bird of New Mexico is?
Is it a Roadrunner?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that makes more sense. My sister lives in Arizona, and she sent me a text one day, and all it said was, "I witnessed a murder."
Oh yeah,
and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Context.
Yeah, you got to give me a little more to work with. And then she proceeds to call me and tell me the story about a Roadrunner beating another bird off of like a Denver barrier before an ate it. I had to ask about that.
Now I kind of feel bad for the coyote.
Yeah. I feel like it might have been vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can fly, but most. I was gonna say they can fly, but most choose not to.
Well,
yeah,
when you're that
the honey badger of the bird world.
That's what it seems like. Yeah, I was gonna say when you're that just like strongly willed about how you live your life, why fly? No, that's awesome. I didn't know that was the state bird in New Mexico. So
it is the state bird. Yes, I've had a few ask me if we named it because Tempe is coyotes. Like, nope. When we founded it, I wanted to just call it Albuquerque Curling Club, and the other founders were like, "No, that's not good. It's like we got to make it more New Mexico specific." And I was like, "Well, what's more specific than Albuquerque?" They're like, "Oh, we just call it Roadrunner." Came up with a good logo too.
Well, we have a duck.
So. Curling rock.
Yeah, we got a duck.
It's good to have avian themed curling clubs. Yeah, those are the best ones I've heard.
I don't know what's the state bird in North Dakota.
Western meadowlark.
Oh, the meadowlark. That's right. Yeah. So you got a nice like strong bird. Saskatchewan's the prairie chicken. So we just got a.
My home state's the loon. One's nice.
Yeah.
I like the loon.
Yeah, most of America's a cardinal. So sure you know.
Most of America. Right. So James, if we're going to get into your story, it's pop quiz time for me. You were watching the '98 Olympics. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So you did that. You liked curling, and then you were stationed up there in Ohio, and you started curling with our buddies out at the Troy Club. How did you really decide that curling was your thing? Right. You seem like a go-getter, right? Pick up this curling club by yourself, but.
Well, I'd always wanted to try curling, but like I said, it's on in '98. Then I moved to Albuquerque after that. Never saw the club here. I think they were already gone. So, of course, every Olympics you look at it and you're like, oh, let me find something close to me. So, 02 I was in Albuquerque. 06 I was in Georgia. 10 I was in Afghanistan. 14 I was down in Texas, which I guess Lone Star was going at the time, but I didn't see them. And I also knew I was getting stationed in Ohio the next year already. And so I'd already looked up the clubs in Ohio. I saw Cincinnati and Columbus and Troy. And said, oh, when I move there, I'll figure out how to join. And probably in the fall of 14, I could have found something, but I kept reading everything that said you must do learn to curl before you join anything. And there were no learn to curl scheduled in the fall of 14, so it took me until spring of 15. I actually went up to Columbus. They had some Saturday night there. Did that. Then Troy did something. I don't know if they told you about the Centerville rink. What's called South Metro, Centerville, Ohio, which our fall here when we started was probably a good 12 feet. Centerville, Ohio's, I want to say, was around 20. You had to aim at 2 sheets over to get it to come to your house. But
that was the curl on it? 20 feet over?
The fall.
So
you had to curl against it.
So just track backwards almost.
Yes. Oh, wow. Exactly.
Holy, I've thrown negative ice before, but not that much.
No.
I want to say it was that much. And now I never played games there. They just did a summer program where you could get some lessons from a few of them. I did that for, I think it was 4 or 5 weeks. Then I think going back, get started up again in the, I guess it would be fall of 2015. And Troy, I think it was the last time they actually played in Troy. That was the first league I played in at the Hobart Arena up there. And then, in Ohio, played, until I, I was at the Air Force Institute of Technology for grad school. So I played until I graduated and then moved back out here to Albuquerque. When I was there, we ran, I shouldn't say we, I wasn't on the planning staff for this, but Curl Troy ran a bonspiel. I played in that bonspiel and wound up in the B event final. Yeah, we lost our first game and won out until we got to the B event final. So I said, oh, yeah, this is definitely, I'm good at this. Yeah, not really, just played.
So you
played some
Oh, good.
Played some comparable teams is what I would say, because I don't remember us winning by much. I know the first game we lost 11-1, but after that, I think we won our games by like 1 or 2 points every game.
But sometimes that's the trick, though. I mean, usually the B has better prizes, so that's what I shoot for anyways.
Yeah, definitely. We're always going for B. Plan from the start.
Then I played. I know I played in a spiel in Bowling Green when Bowling Green got their dedicated ice. It kind of started tradition that a couple of us do here. I mean, we have to travel anyway for bonspiel, so we try to go to everywhere that gets new ice. We try to go to those. We went to the Bay Area when they had their inaugural bonspiel 2 years ago. That one actually wound up in the A event final. Kind of the same thing. It's like, well, we're winning close games, so I guess we're not too bad. And we couldn't hit a shot in the final, but like that was just horrible. But that's how it goes sometimes.
Sure.
I've probably played. I know I counted one time. I think I played in like 20 or so clubs. My girlfriend here, one season, she went to 11 bonspiels. She just traveled everywhere. Some of them without me. I was still active duty at the time, so I couldn't take as much time off.
So when you are going to the various bonspiels across the country, then, I mean, you've listed off a number of them that you've gone to. We might have a couple of questions on this, but do you have a dedicated team that you're always going with yourself? Or do you pick up?
No, we got about 3 of us that go to a lot together, but dedicated team, my girlfriend and I try to get to a lot together. I think she's gone to more without me than I've gone to without her.
Oh, sure thing. So you, out of those various bonspiels, I mean, do you have any? I mean, you've gone to more than we have, I believe here. Maybe not Nolan, but do you have any favorites of the various hosts of these bonspiels? I mean, any really stick out memory?
I think they all have. I don't think I've been to. Well, I can't say that. I'm not going to mention the club. I've been to one bonspiel that I thought was poorly run. So that. And I'm not going to mention the club. I'm not going to mention that.
What state was it in?
You're a better man than us then. Yeah.
It was out west. I'll say that.
Okay.
And it was not Denver or Coyotes. So
we'll do some research.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be a small list.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
it's a very small list. I basically eliminated. The Bay Area, when they put on their first one, I remember telling them I thought it was really well run. We did pool play, so we always knew when we were playing. And so it gave us enough time to go out and see some other stuff. And one of the organizers, she just looked at me as soon as I said it. She was like, "Oh, thank you." I was like, "Well, yeah, I have no clue what it looks like behind the scenes for you, but I know when I stepped in to the club, I knew we knew where we needed to be. They gave us all the information of how everything would proceed. I thought it was really well run. We just did the big spiel in Minnesota last month. I thought the same thing. I don't know what it was like for the organizers, but for us, coming in from out of town, knew this. I mean, and that one was more traditional bracket schedule. We never had an issue knowing where to be and when, and what each facility had, or who to talk to about what.
Did you get to play in a couple of different clubs when you were at the big spiel? You rotated.
We played in 4. Yeah, we played in four of the 5.
Very nice.
Yeah, but I will say Frogtown, as much as everyone complains about it being cold, I thought it was very good ice. I thought them and Chaska, ice-wise, were probably best. Nothing against Dakota or St. Paul, which are the other 2 we played at. And I played at 4 Seasons several times already. Mm-hmm. That's the one I didn't get to this time. But we'll be back there in May for Lupus Spiel. So we'll play there again.
Oh, you're in that Lupus Spiel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's on my next couple year list to hit either Lupus or the Duluth one.
We're going to House of Hearts this year too. So.
Oh, you're going to House of Hearts? Oh man! So you get to curl with a professional curler. It's a fundraiser for a charity clay. So like you sign up and like they know like the list of like who are the professional curlers that are coming. Yeah. So like you might get to play with like Schuster or somebody on your team. They'll be skipping for you. area.
Sure.
But yeah, it's really cool. Yep.
Well, also Hart said you could choose your skip and your position. So I always wondered, could you
Make him throw
choose your
lead.
skip and then tell them I want to skip?
I would.
Nolan make Schuster throw lead. I can already see it.
100%. Well, that's what I was going to say. My luck, I'd sign up for a spiel like that, and I'd end up curling with Jennifer Jones.
I knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah.
She's retired now. Just
No,
let it
she's
go.
going to
Let it
doubles.
go.
Yeah, so a couple of years, like we've done the Lupus Field 3 times now. We had to miss 1 year. We were signed up. We were supposed to play with Terry Galusha that year, and we got sick and couldn't go. And I was like, oh, that was actually going to be that highlight for us. I mean, I know a lot of people raise a lot of money to play with Kevin Martin, but I was like, yeah, I know I'm not raising that kind of money. So, and
Maybe we can do that in our own club here and just see what kind of money people would pay to play with us. Do you think we'd get anything?
We'd probably lose money.
I think we will.
Yeah. No, you're. I'll say hats off. You know, you're definitely a more seasoned bonspieler than I think all three of us put together. You know, so it's really cool to hear about it, though.
Yeah, if we want to play, basically, if we want to play anything other than ice that gives you 2 shots every week, you got to go bonspiel. Yep. And so I'd say most years I get to 5 or 6. And actually, this year, I'll have to ask. I'll have to ask her what she wants to do, because I know she said she wanted to go to Minnesota for one that's the same weekend as Coyotes Hotter than Hell. So we're going to have to make a decision at some point.
When's that one take place?
July.
Okay. Minnesota does have I went to the Chaska one in the summer, and they sometimes
That's it.
Oh yeah, I was just there this summer. That's a lot of fun.
James, I got to ask you, since you've done the circuit here, you know, how many of these bond spiels that you're going to, you know, it sounds like you're doing more like the social spiels than big cash spiels. Oh, yeah. But like, how many of them are providing like entertainment and stuff? Because that's one thing we hang our hat on with our end of year spiel is like you get meals with it, we get bands in, you know, it's a party,
honestly,
right?
It's not as many providing entertainment. The meals obviously are, well, I should say obviously, I think I've been to 1 or 2 where they didn't provide food, but I'd say 90+% always have food available. Denver usually has something going on either Friday or Saturday night. I can't remember which one they usually do, like a little band or something.
Yeah.
I know we've had Coyotes usually does as well. The other ones I've been to, maybe they did and I just didn't stay, but I can't remember any of the other clubs like having it specifically listed as entertainment. And of course, I'll throw the thing out about Pittsburgh, great club, but we were there when the power went out, and so we didn't get to play it in the spiel, but we still played games when the power came back on. And so they may have had something planned and they just couldn't do it because of the power outage.
Sure thing. How I think Denver might be one of the bigger ones there. I know the big spiel's obviously large, but how many teams in that Denver one?
32.
32. Okay.
Yeah.
32 in this one. Their summer spiel we've been to a couple of times, and I think they limited it to 32, but I don't think they sold out the last 2 summers. When we've gone, it's usually been around like 24, 28, something like that.
Sure thing. So I'm assuming the largest one, the big spiel in
128.
128. Is that the largest one you've been to?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I don't think there's a larger one.
I'd say the smallest one has been 16.
Okay.
Circle City just opened their dedicated this year. This past Veterans Day, I don't know if that was their inaugural spiel, but it was Veterans Day weekend. They had 16 teams. And of course, I sign up for it, then I get hurt, so I can't play in it. But I still went up there because, you know, I'm from Indiana originally. So I wanted to support the Indiana club. My girlfriend played on it. She said, great ice. She said, very technologically, interconnected with everything. She liked the club. Hopefully we can get back to that one when I'm healthy and can play.
Sure thing. Well, we're hoping for 32 on our shirt sleeve here. That's what. That's general our goal.
Now you do 32 as elimination bracket, or you do pools, or how do you do that?
We rotate back and forth, kind
It's
of
bracketed.
Yeah.
So we do what we usually do
Ravens.
though is we do 2 brackets. So we have like
Gotcha.
a locals bracket, because we know all these teams, and we're like, okay, if they're a local like social league team, we put them in the lower bracket, and then if they're a competitive local team, we put them with all the out of towners in the upper bracket.
Gotcha.
It's mostly for the benefit of like our out of towners, right? Like you come, you don't necessarily want to play the schlubs from Monday League,
You're
like.
shaking hands
Because you're
after
shaking in
four
3
games,
ends, right?
yeah.
So that's why we do it, and it works out real well. And then there's consolation brackets in there too.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Yeah.
Well, I know, like the Denver one, this Mile High, it's always pool play, which I enjoy because it's kind of set times, when you're playing. But there's also, how do you balance the pools?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and for
You're
us,
guessing.
we just have the benefit of knowing most of the teams than just assuming the out-of-towners. One thing I will say is a proud Minot tradition is that if you win your game Friday night or Saturday on the late one, you don't curl the early draw. So, we know the bracket, like depending on how you place, you'll have your game. But like if you lose Friday night, you're curling the early draw. So
You better try hard.
It's
Now
not
we noticed that. We noticed that with Denver, the D bracket after the pool play played at 9:30 at night, and if you won, you had to play at the 8 a.m. Next day.
Ooh, winners. Yeah. You got to talk to the guy that did that bracket.
But yeah, you shouldn't have fell into the D pool.
That's
you
true
gotta do
too.
better than that, right? Yeah, that's how I think usually. It's just
Yeah,
better.
but it also meant A and B brackets who finished first and second in their pool. Their semifinal was the 10:30, and those winners had to play immediately after for their championship. But there's the benefit of being later in the day.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the same sheet, I'll take it. But yeah, just go to the bathroom, get back out there, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's cool to hear about your career and what got you to curling. Do you have any fond memories of that first 98 Olympics you watched?
because that was Pete Fenson's year,
Was not.
wasn't it?
No, Pete Fenson was 06.
Oh, well, he did too. He was 02 and 06, I think.
That was the
Now,
Schmerler
so I'll tell you this about 02. I remember watching curling. I did not get CNBC on my cable package, but it came in really fuzzy on my TV in my college apartment. So I watched a lot of those games squinting, trying to figure out where the rocks were.
I just pictured through the salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the 98 Olympics, they only showed the men's gold medal game, from what I remember. And I was enlisted in the barracks, and that's all you could watch at the time, if I remember right. I don't think any other event was going on. And all my friends, and of course, we're just in the barracks watching it and trying to figure out the rules. And I was like, oh, man, I need to learn this, is what I remember. And everyone was like, why are you going to learn this? Is like, you're never going to get a chance to play it. Because we were looking around in San Diego at the time. Let's see if there was a club there. It's like, no. Don't know where you have to go. Got to go to Wisconsin or Minnesota. Now that we've got a lot more going on, I can't say like all fond memories or anything, but I do remember watching all the curling everywhere I was at. In 06, I was right at the tail end of being commissioned. I was at OCS. And I don't think it was the bronze medal game, but I know we watched a U.S. curling game. And the same thing, everyone's watching it has no clue. I'm the one having to explain the rules, why you can't hit guards out.
Right. It makes it hard to actually follow the game because you're explaining it to everybody.
Yeah. But the interesting thing to me was in 2010 in Afghanistan, I was in a NATO unit that had a lot of Canadians. Well, I say a lot, like 4 or 5 Canadians that are mixed in with us. And none of them had ever curled.
Really?
Every now and then.
Only one of them even could follow the game knowing the rules. And it was the two of us. A friend of mine just recorded and sent me the burnt disc so I could watch it. And I'd watched a game in our office. And the two of us are explaining the rules. And of course, everyone has a better strategy watching it on TV or in the stands than the people playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's, 100% of games.
Well, that's where the Wizards are, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're all asking us why they didn't do certain things when we're trying to explain why they probably didn't. It's like, well, we don't know why exactly, but this is probably why. And before you know it, the game's over and everyone thinks they've got it down exactly what, at least strategy-wise.
They're the next
And
Kevin Martin.
Yeah, then we put on the next game and it's completely, someone else has a completely different idea of what they want to do. It's like, well, that last guy didn't do this. It's like, well, yeah, he didn't, because not everyone's going to try to keep a clean house every time.
So speaking of armchair quarterbacking, did you watch the Scotties at all this year?
Oh, of course.
Any key takeaways from that one? Any fond memories of watching that? Any opinions on what should have happened?
She should have made her last shot.
That's what it came down to.
That's pretty much it.
I really don't like it when games are won on missed shots, especially at that level. You want to see make shots, and it was pretty close. Let's be honest. None of us are probably making it even.
Oh hell no!
Yeah,
it is kind of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and even in the 1-2 page playoff, I think the Skips missed their last 3 shots each of them, or last 3 shots in that end, if I remember right, were missed.
Well, I was going to say, I think when Homan and Jones played in their playoff games, so you got the bye right to the final. I think it was the coach that talked her out. She wanted to play the run back, and he said, "No, I'll play the freeze." Yeah. She wasn't comfortable with that shot. Like, throw the one you want to throw.
Yeah. Well, I mean, years ago, I don't remember if it was Olympic tournament to get into the Olympics or it was European, but I know it was the Danish lady, Madeline Dupont. The coach came out, told her not to do this weird off ours, off theirs, off ours, off theirs, into ours. It was like 4 rocks. And you see her really saying, I want to throw that shot. And he's like, no, don't throw that shot. She throws the shot, makes it. They win the game, but of course the coach is looks incredulous on the bench.
Right.
And to me, I agree. It's like, give them advice, but if they're more confident in a different shot, they need to take that shot.
And so you second guess yourself. You're thinking too much at that point. You just throw the one you're comfortable with. And
it was an interesting stat after that one. I mean, the way that Ontario's team plays the game so defensively. I mean, every game kind of looks close at the end because they're not winning by huge margins oftentimes. Yeah. They're not letting the other team score. But in that last game, they clearly had control of that game, even if the score didn't perfectly reflect it.
Well, and of course, we're watching the Scotties while we're at the bonspiel.
Oh, sure.
So, of course, we come on the ice think, oh, well, no, you got to remember what our ability level is.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Friday night. The way this bonspiel worked out in the pool play, we only played one Thursday, one Friday. Then we played at most 2, but plays 2 Saturday. And on the Friday night, they drew behind these center guard, and there's another rock off to the right a bit. And left about a rock and a half wide port. And our skip calls it. It's not for me. This was actually for my girlfriend and another lady that I think this was her second bonspiel. It calls it for her, well, the one that's only been playing her second bonspiel. It calls it for her. And even after the game, he said, well, I figured we'd at least open it up, hit one of the guards. Well, she makes it. The other team calls it to draw around again, like hopefully get a little more buried. Well, no, it's not buried. It's still sticking out. Well, our skip calls the same thing through the port. Now my girlfriend takes it. And she makes it. And after the game, when we were talking to their skip, he's like, I cannot believe you guys got through that twice. And I was like, we couldn't either.
Yeah.
With 2 different curlers.
yeah.
But yeah, great. And then on our Saturday game, we had a bunch of rocks in the house, and I thought he was the other team was calling to freeze, and he told them this after the game. No, I was calling to that's a guard. This was on his first rock because he thought he'll guard that and draw into freeze on the second. That way we won't be able to get to him. because he said if he froze the first rock, we'd just be able to hit both his and ours out, and then he's just open again. Well, he closes off probably, good. Maybe gives us only like a rock, 2 rock at most port. And now our skip has the same thing. And he said the same thing again. It's like, oh, I'll go through there, but nothing else opens up. He gets through and hits the rock out of play. I was like, I told our skip, I think you're watching too much of the Scotties. Actually, he's like, but we made all 3 of them. I was like, yeah, we did. So good for us. Now we feel like we're actual curlers for a day.
I was gonna say the toughest part about those shots is like playing it off like you knew it was gonna happen. Like, it's the one you called, you didn't expect it to, but then you got to stay cool after. Like, I knew that was gonna happen all day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of asked. I mean, we'll go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, just kind of looking forward. Obviously, you've been around the game. You've known the game for a while. Do you have any future plans? Do you ever think about like going up to a real competitive style of playing, looking at arena nationals, or
no,
just bonspieler and hopping
this
around?
goes back to another. Well, here, the arena national, you bring this up. This actually brings up all the way back to us leaving USA Curling. Even in arenas, you need to form a team with all 4 of your members being from the same club. I brought this up. Well, and I brought this up. Mixed sports, only 2 of your members of your team even have to be in the same region. So for small clubs like us, it would really be helpful if you can be, if people want to do anything competitive level, if there was a kind of like the Canadian import rule, I don't know how exactly it would work, but even just allowing one person from outside your club but inside your region, allowing arenas to just form teams from wherever. I don't know if region based or however. There's got to be a way to allow for that for individuals at smaller clubs to get involved in competitive ways. Because right now, if we try to put an arena men's club or team together, we might be able to do that. We'd probably be able to get a handful of people. But our women, right now, I think we have 10 women in our club. And this has actually been our biggest year for that. How many of them want to play competitively? I don't know. But I know one season we were in, we had a woman asked to play for a Denver club. And we were trying to figure that out, how they would be able to participate. And they were going to join. At first, they thought they just joined Denver. But then the league playing part of that rule, we were trying to find out if there was a weekend league that they could sign up, pay for, and just show up for one game. And now you're a league player. And it's something that I know a lot of people that I've only seen curling in the Twin Cities don't think about, because there's so many clubs up there. And so, I want to play and make a run at club nationals. I'll pull all these people that I know. We work together well. Well, we're from different clubs, so next season we just joined this one club. Here, the next USA Curling Club is Denver or Coyotes. So you're not really going to do that. Well, I do know someone that flies once a week from Texas to Nashville to play in a league there, but almost no one's going to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more than just there's some extra means aside from curling ability to do that.
Yes.
Okay, James here. We got a question that we try to hit everybody up with here as we're wrapping up. So it is, what is your most memorable curling moment? Bonus points if it is an embarrassing one. When you think curling, if you just had one memory that you had to hold on to, what would it be, right?
All right. Well, my most memorable is not an embarrassing one, but I'll tell you an embarrassing one is stepping on the ice at the Southern California Curling Center and breaking my arm.
Ooh,
not even throwing, just fell down. Yeah, that was a little, especially since I had been playing at that point for 6-7 years. So
can you get me a little bit of context here? Did you forget that your gripper was off, or was it just that slick?
My gripper was on. I think when I stepped on the ice, it caught something and came off. That's what I think happened, because I know it was on. Then I played. I didn't learn to skate until I was 40 years old, and I remember the very first lesson skating. They said, "Never put your arms out when you fall down."
Yep.
Guess what I did?
Oh yeah,
it's instinctual.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. And that's I broke my arm there. So yeah. So then I'm just on the ice, and the first thing I thought is like, "Oh, this feels really bad." I was like, "Well, you should put ice on it." I was like, "Well, I'm sitting on ice." Got that
covered.
So you just stay there.
So I just rolled over.
Oh, that's funny.
It probably was not great for the ice, but yeah, that's what I did.
I cracked my head last year and fetal positioned it for a little while.
Geez.
You know, that's how it goes.
Yeah, the most memorable one I know was the first Lupus Spiel I played in. They give you mulligans. You can pay to take your shot over, and you can also once a game pay to make someone else take their shot over on the other team. So I made this great wraparound draw right to the button. And the other team just looked at me and was like, "No, you're going to do that again." It's like, "Oh, sure." I did it again. And this time it looked perfect, except for maybe, I don't know, an eighth of it is showing. So I'm thinking I'm doing great. They picked it out.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least you could repeat it. I tied a game this Wednesday with a through a port button draw, perfect shot to tie the game, and in the skips draw, I didn't even make the house, man. I didn't hog it, but you think I would have had the weight down a little better. But
yeah, no, it's sneaky on you. You think you knew exactly what you were doing, and no.
Got a little too far outside. You just hit the frost path. That's all.
That's what it was.
Well,
that's what
I took the other side because I was playing on sheet 5 with the hill, and I did it over the hill, and I was like, I don't want to do the hill again, so I took the other handle and.
Oh, just throw the same shot again.
I know, but the hill's so goofy.
Oh boy,
I know. It was a rookie move.
We'll talk to you about this later.
I know.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and
yeah. Thank you.
Great talking to you and hearing about your club and what you've done with curling through your career and what got you into it. I was telling the guys before we started, it just tickles me. Like what we did with the podcast this season has been a lot better than what we did last season. It's been a lot of fun to hear about everybody's stories and everything like that.
Yeah,
so.
and I know I've told you this before, James, but like kudos, man. Hats off to you for getting that club going and keeping it going. Especially through like COVID. Tough years in there, and I just can't speak highly enough of the effort and what you've done down south there. So.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, hopefully we'll keep growing here. It looks like this year we added a lot more people. So
yeah, and enjoy your break. I hope you come back to the club because it seems like you get things done. But enjoy your break, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's still curl there. I'm trying not to do as much behind the scenes stuff.
Yep. We get that. Yep. All right, well, let you go here, and we'll wrap her up and get home to our wives. So it's been fun.
Maybe see you at a bonspiel down the road someday.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I've been to Fargo's club. I've just never played in a spiel there. So yeah, maybe up there, or maybe even might not one of these days.
We're a lot of fun. I'll say that.
Yeah, we're a blast.
We'll see you at Shirt Sleeve.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. So, boys.
Last one before the Briar.
Yeah, last one for the Briar.
We got our call bells.
I got to say, we should probably wrap this up quick because the reason I stepped out for a little while there is some Eastern European truck driver has a semi outside our club right now, and he's trying to drop off 4,000 pounds of sheet metal because this bill of lading in my hands has our address on it, and I know absolutely nothing about why that's coming to our club. So he is unloading as we speak. I told him, put it on the sidewalk because you're not getting it in the door, and I'm not dealing with it right now.
All right.
So it's going right next to your truck.
Not behind us, right?
No, not behind you. I said get it as close to that railing as you can and away. So we should go check on him.
Yeah,
though.
we should
probably check on this one.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been 15A. I'm Nolan. We have Clay and Wes.
Bye.